Joining me today. Let me get the Periscope feed up and we are ready to rock. We got some good stuff today. One of the pieces I wrote, so hopefully you read it. If you're watching on YouTube or Periscope, or Facebook, please click the link. Please click the link and read the article about Kaepernick that I wrote today. Hey, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid, Wrighster or wrong, George Wrighster here. We got a couple things on deck for you guys. First of all, make sure you hit the hearts, make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure that you read the articles attached to these things so we can keep bringing you this content each and every day, bringing it hard, bringing it real. So we got a couple things up today. First of which is the Cavs. Obviously, this Cavs, LeBron, Kyrie saga keeps going on and on and on. And now everybody's blaming LeBron for this. I am a person who's critical of LeBron. But I'm going to tell you why he's not the person to blame for this chaos that's going on. Next thing up, Kaepernick is being blackballed. If you check my Twitter, at George Wrighster, wrote an article about it. Please like the feed, share the feed. Make sure that you guys read it. The last thing we have up is a college football preview. Woo! I could not be more excited. College football is starting. Woo! This is the best time of the year. NFL teams have already checked in training camp. Oh yeah, the fun is about to begin. Best part of the year. So, but first up, we're going to start with the Cavs. So what's going on with the Cavs? I saw and heard and read a few places yesterday that LeBron is to blame for what's going on in Cleveland. Wherever he goes, chaos comes and all this. Well, yes, there's a certain level of that is on LeBron, but the biggest thing that we're not talking about, that we're not realizing, is whose fault is this really? If a company is failing, if a company is in chaos and turmoil, is it the employee's fault or is it usually the management's fault? The ownership's fault, because you have allowed this chaos to happen? Which one is it? Because you can't blame the employees for what the ownership and the management allows. Who have we not heard from in the Cavs situation? We haven't heard from the owner, Dan Gilbert. We haven't heard from their new GM. And we haven't heard at the dude that has the head coach title, Tyronn Lue. I've been critical of Tyronn Lue since last year and even this year in the playoffs. I don't know what value this guy adds. He's a nice guy, but he always standing there with that confused, I'm about to say something, but I'm not going to end up saying it look on his face. I've asked people on Twitter, name one time that you can remember an adjustment that Tyronn Lue made that affected the outcome of a game. Please give me one instance where that's happened. I'll take one. I don't need 5. Just give me one. Because when we look at through history, right? We look at what's happened with teams, what's happened with great teams. You look at Phil Jackson when he was the coach of the Lakers. Shaq and Kobe were having their beef. Who kept them together? Who got them on the same page for as long as possible? Phil Jackson, Dr. Buss, the owner. Phil Jackson in Chicago. Who kept Pippen, Rodman, Jordan, Luke Longley, Kukoc, Steve Kerr, all these guys on the same page when they didn't all agree on stuff? The coach did it. Where the hell is Tyronn Lue? Think about this. During the playoffs, we watched Steve Kerr's interview. We watched Greg Popovich's interview. We watched Eric Spoelstra's interviews. We watched pretty much every head coach's interviews, except we don't give a damn about what Tyronn Lue has to say. That's because he's not affecting the game. Like, he's going to give you nothing. He's going to give you nothing. Look at what Greg Popovich has done with the Spurs. He has created a culture, and R.C. Buford, the owner, have created a culture where they keep things in-house. They deal with problems. They resolve things properly because they have stable leadership. And that's not what the Cavs have. They have one of the worst owners in sports. What does Steve Kerr do with Golden State? Because you know Draymond goes off the cliff sometimes. You know that when he's yelling in the locker room, we don't hear that there's actual beef. Oh, no, it's just a passionate time. Everybody just wants to win so much. That's what we hear. Because the ownership and the coaches manage these situations. Chuck Daly in the past with the Pistons. He had Rodman, Isaiah Thomas, Vinny the Microwave. He had Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, a whole bunch of big personalities that didn't always agree, and they were aggressive. But the coach and the ownership keep it together. That's what's not happening in Cleveland. But we want to blame LeBron. Here's what you can blame LeBron for. You can blame LeBron for putting the Cavs in a situation where if they didn't bend to his demands to pay J.R. Smith and pay Tristan Thompson, who's with Clutch Sports, that he was going to potentially leave. Putting that type of pressure on the ownership. You can blame LeBron for that because while he says, I don't have enough help, while he constantly gets a pass for that, you can blame him for that. You made your bed, now you got to lie in it to a certain respect. But you can't blame him for the chaos. The management and the ownership allows this. People say, oh, well, LeBron, everybody knows who's running the show. LeBron is running the show. That is the problem. That is the problem. Look at what the Lakers did. When Kobe wanted to make all type of demands and be aggressive and upset and all that, what did they do? They went out and fixed it, but they did it kind of on their time. They tried to do what was right for the organization. That's what the Cavs have not done. I mean, they are literally a slave to LeBron in terms of bending at his demands. And at some point in time, the ownership has to say, we are bigger than you, than one player, despite you being the best player in the game right now. That's what ownership has to say, and they have not done that. Look at the New England Patriots. Do you believe that the New England Patriots will let Tom Brady go if Tom Brady starts making all type of demands and unreasonable requests? Will they? Hell yes. They love Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's not bigger than Robert Kraft. Tom Brady's not bigger than the Patriots. That's the problem with the Cavs organization. They are not well run. They have put themselves in a financially disadvantageous situation. They have put themselves in financial peril in terms of the salary cap and the luxury tax, spending $100 million more than they need to. Why? Because you're trying to bend over backwards to make this dude happy. I mean, how often does this work in life, to giving in to just bending to every request that somebody makes just because you're afraid that your girl's going to leave. You're afraid that your son's going to be upset. You're afraid that your teacher's not going to like you anymore. And they keep making request after request after request. And what happens after a while? They get more and more unreasonable because you allowed this. This is Dan Gilbert's fault because he has not made it a place where the GM has not empowered his GM because he doesn't pay him properly. Doesn't re-sign them. Keeps flipping around coaches. Won't actually put a leadership coach in place. Dan Gilbert is responsible for this, and he's taking the coward's way out, won't say a word about it. That's the problem with this situation that's going on with the Cavs. You can try to blame LeBron all you want to, but you can't blame LeBron for this. This is an ownership problem, and he's not the owner. He doesn't write the checks. He doesn't sign the checks. The dude who wrote that letter about him does. So that's who needs to be speaking up about this situation or coming out. But no, what do? They let LeBron, they let Kyrie sit out there and take all the bullets. Let them look like the bad guy. Cowardly, bad leadership, poorly run franchise. Another point. Been making this all along. The Cavs are a bad, poorly run organization. Next up is college football. Actually, yeah, we'll go to college football. You guys, make sure you guys like the feed. share the feed. I appreciate you guys watching. Yeah. So hit the little swipe, share on Periscope, whatever it is. We'll go on to college football. Yeah, we'll go to college football. Feels wrong, though. Feels wrong. I'm going to tell you guys the games that I'm looking most forward to in college football. The games that I am most excited about. Number one, the game I am most excited about this year is, just so happens to be on September 2nd, is Alabama versus Florida State. This is going to be interesting because you have Nick Saban versus Jimbo Fisher. But most importantly, you have Jalen Hurts, Alabama's quarterback, who's an athletic, decent passer, but against Florida State's defense. And they have some hogs. They have some really good pass rushers. And this is a game that this game is actually bigger for Florida State than it is for Alabama. Because Alabama is likely to steamroll through the SEC. The SEC is a marginal conference right now. I mean, it's there's Alabama and there's everybody else. Like, nobody else scares anybody else in the country except Alabama. Florida State, though, they play in the best conference in the country, which is the ACC. They were the best conference last year, and they're likely to be the best conference this year. And Florida State has Clemson and Louisville in their side of the conference bracket. So one loss to either one of those teams, and guess what's happening? You're not making it to the ACC championship, which means you are not making it to the national championship. Unless, by chance, you can beat Alabama. So beating Alabama actually gives you an opportunity to finish the season with 2 losses and still find if another ACC team, whichever one you lost to, if it were a close game, if you lost to Clemson or you lost to Louisville and they were in the top 4, it would give you a shot. That's what I like about this game. This game has playoff implications in it starting week 1 in September 2nd. The game that other people are excited about that I'm not excited about is, I'm not excited about Michigan versus Florida. Sounds like a snoozer. 13-10 game. Not impressed. I know I'm going to get some homer action for this, but I'm excited about Nebraska at Oregon. Because Willie Taggart's first game, national televised, big stage, it's in Autzen Stadium. This is a chance for him to put his stamp on this program. I mean, early. And it's against Mike Riley, who is Oregon State's old coach. That's what's exciting about this. And tomorrow, just so you guys know, I will be putting out a list of the 5 most overrated teams in college football this year. That was just a little brief preview, just a little snippet of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. The last thing up is Colin Kaepernick. So I wrote an article. If you guys, hopefully you guys saw it. It is pinned to my Twitter page. If you did not see it, and please read it, please share it, please like it. I said the truth and lies about Colin Kaepernick. We keep hearing from place and place, oh, Kaepernick, he can't play anymore. He sucks. He's no good. All these things. That's what people keep telling us, that it's about his game. I mean, have we really looked at the numbers, though? Have you really looked at the numbers? Because honestly, I had not looked at the numbers. And until I did, I was like, damn, really? That's what he did? So how do you think Colin Kaepernick's season went last year? Remember, he started off the season injured. Then the team had to rework his contract. Took a couple weeks to do that, and then he started. What did he actually do, though? He played horrible, right? Nope, he did not. He threw 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. There's room in the NFL for quarterbacks who can throw 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. There's starters that don't have that type of ratio. And where did he do it at? He did it in San Francisco, the team that had the least amount of talent in the NFL last year. The team that had the worst roster, the worst defense, no weapons to really speak of. And he did it with that, and then all the immense personal and political pressure that was on him to break. This sounds like a dude I want on my damn team. So that was the first lie, that Kaepernick sucks and he can't play anymore. Do you realize, too, that he has the 11th best quarterback rating of active quarterbacks? Better than Carson Palmer, Derek Carr, Joe Flacco, Andrew Luck, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford, Cam Newton, and a bunch of other people that you recognize them from your commercials and your household names. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I bet you didn't know that because the dude sucks, right? Oh, but he's been bad the last 2 years. The year before, 2015, wasn't that good. Didn't really play that long. I think he had 6 touchdowns, 5 picks. This year, bounced back. 2016, bounced back. 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, do we not look at numbers? It's a good thing that we have these things because people keep saying, no, this is a football decision. No, it's not. That is a lie. Do not let people tell you this. Teams say publicly, we want them to have the best 53 players on our team. You don't want the best 53 players when you sign people like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith, Case Keenum, Matt Schaub, Dan Orlovsky, Blaine Gabbert, Kellen Moore, Matt McLaurin, and on and on and on. Instead of signing Kaepernick. You don't want those 53 best players. That's not what you want. Tell the truth. What is this really about? Because it's clearly not about football because the numbers and the stats say otherwise. Maybe Kaepernick's a bad guy. He just needs to clean up his image. What? When has the NFL had a problem re-signing and giving paydays to people with DUIs, sometimes multiple DUIs, domestic abuse, beat their kids, violate the league policy, drug policy? Has he done any of those things? No. It's a dude who's in the community, standing up for other people, donating millions. What part of his image needs to be cleaned up? I mean, seriously, though. I mean, it makes no sense. Oh, Mike Vick said he needs a haircut. Oh, does Ryan Fitzpatrick and that ugly-ass beard need a haircut? Does he need a shave? No. Does Andrew Luck and his Amish look need a makeover? Is it more palatable? No. Does Aaron Rodgers and his damn porn mustache and when he had long hair, does that make you feel good about yourself? No. Oh, but that makes you feel better because they don't need to clean up their image, right? And these people don't do half the stuff that Kaepernick has done in the community. Other thing, the people in the military are offended. Some of them are. And I empathize with this lie because I've traveled around the world visiting our servicemen and women. And I can't imagine that it feels good to see somebody kneeling at the national anthem. Even though there is a third verse of it that is hella racist. But anyways, I would imagine that would make me feel some kind of way. But I've asked servicemen and women about it, and what do they say consistently? We serve, we sacrifice, that way we can have these freedoms. The way Colin Kaepernick can do this. That's why America's the greatest country. Because this country was founded on protest. The Revolutionary War was about protest against Britain. The Civil War was about protest for slavery and states' rights. So you should be excited that somebody is actually using the constitutional rights that were given. We don't have a problem when Trump supporters don't have a problem when he stands up for trying to make America great again. Sean Hannity or O'Reilly supporters don't have a problem when they're standing up for America in the face of liberal weaklings. People who watch and support Rachel Maddow, they love how she stands up and is courageous. I mean, really. Really think about it. People who love Jake Tapper clapping back on Twitter, they love that he stands his ground no matter what. No matter what somebody says about him, no matter what they try to call him fake news. You like that though, right? But you don't like it when Colin Kaepernick stands up. Because why? Because it's social justice. You don't care about that much because it makes you uncomfortable. Because you would have to admit that America still has racism going on. That that black people don't necessarily get. Well, I shouldn't even just say all black people, but brown people, people of color, do not get the same shake that white people do in the criminal justice system. This is a fact. A lot of these shootings with police officers, yes, being a police officer is a tough job. And there are some really good, most police officers are really good people trying to do the right thing. But there's a small minority who give everybody else a bad name, who are murderers and criminals pretending to be police officers. I think we can all agree on that. Then the last lie that I've heard a lot is that sports are not for protest. That's a lie. Sports has been used for protest throughout history. The U.S. almost boycotted the 1936 Olympics in Berlin because of what Adolf Hitler was doing. We actually boycotted the 1980 Olympics in Moscow over them invading Afghanistan. Muhammad Ali and so many others protested the Vietnam War. You had in 1968 the Mexico City Olympics. John Carlos and Tommy Smith fist up. Sports is one of the only places where there's a meritocracy, where things are based on merit. And then it allows people to break down color walls. I'll tell you a story that I told before. It was about a player that I went to the University of Oregon with. And he was from California. And we talked about, so he was a white guy. He talked about when our junior year, he said, oh man, it's just interesting because I had this perception of black people when I came to college. I thought that all you guys were bad guys, liars, all of this stuff. But now I've realized there are good people and that there are bad people of all race, colors, and creeds. Because he was from a place where some of his family and people that he hung around were not. They were Aryan people of Aryan descent who would now be called alt-right people. And he said the one thing I learned in college is that I would want my daughter to marry a good guy. I don't want to marry a white guy. I don't want her to marry a black guy. I don't want her to marry a Mexican guy, Italian, whatever the hell he is. I want her to marry a good guy. I want to be around good people. That was dope. That was dope. And last thing is, I'll leave you with a quote from that Phil Knight said in Shoe Dog. I forgot who actually originally said the quote, but that's where I read it. But before, I'm going to challenge you guys to actually do something. To actually do something out in the world. Because while people have said that Kaepernick disrespected our military, our servicemen and women are walked by like trash on the street every single day. Do something to help them before you get to complain about Kaepernick. Actually, don't just tell them, we appreciate your service, thank you for your service. Actually, do something to help them. Call your congressman. Call your senator. Write a letter. Hell, do anything. Do something, though. And then let these owners who are being cowardly in the situation know that it's okay to sign Kaepernick. It's okay to stand up for other people. It's okay to do what's right. We won't boycott you. Don't be weak. Open up your mind, read the article, think about what I'm saying. Unafraid, Wrighster or wrong. Thank you guys for joining me today. Please like the feed, share the feed, enjoy the feed. I appreciate your time and energy. We will be back tomorrow.